ICE equal illegal bounty hunters. Allowing them in your business is a safety threat on every level possible. Thank you, Digital Decay, for this comment. It also gives me a chance to talk about the Signs of Solidarity project. You can find it by searching up Signs of Solidarity Indivisible. Now, I have not done the training for it, but other people in my local Indivisible group have and are very active in this canvassing effort. So folks are going around to local businesses and asking them to put signs in their window, basically saying immigrants are safe here. We stand with immigrant families. Because a key part of resistance are these small acts of refusing to comply in advance, refusing to let the regime normalize their terrible, hateful rhetoric. I've talked in the past about how small actions like wearing buttons or having a sign in your yard can be a signal to other people that the resistance is everywhere, that you are refusing to lie down. It also can be a great way to spark a conversation, but when we're looking at the Signs of Solidarity project in particular, there are a number of businesses, especially if they're immigrant owned or they're in a part of the United States where maybe they're going to be targeted by MAGA or targeted by ICE. And it's not necessarily safe for them to put a sign in their front window, right? We are asking businesses with more privilege and less risk to be the first ones to speak out, to be the ones that are holding the line for those businesses that are unable to be quite as vocal. There's far more to the project than that. Like if a business puts a sign in their window, that's icing on the cake. This canvassing project gives volunteers a chance to talk with business owners about what might happen if ICE comes to raid their business and snatch up their employees. It includes showing business owners copies of what a judicial warrant looks like versus what ICE tends to have if they bother to show any paperwork, which is an administrative warrant, which is not worth the paper it's written on, right? So without a judicial warrant, ICE should not be on the premises. So we're teaching business owners how to tell the difference in order to protect their employees. Teaching them their rights. We're handing out Know Your Rights cards for themselves and their employees, which are available in so many different languages. Go to ilrc.org to order a set of them in whatever language is going to be most useful to the immigrants where you live. That's the Immigrant Legal Resource Center. There's one other key thing that the Signs of Solidarity folks are teaching business owners about. ICE can bust in and be like, oh, this is a business. We have a right to come in here. You allow your customers in, we're allowed in. Anywhere that the customers are allowed to be, that's a public space. We can enter it. So then how can you possibly protect your immigrant customers and employees? One of the things that Signs of Solidarity is teaching businesses is that if you put a sign on a place in your office that is not open to the public, it could literally be a broom closet, and it says private area for employees only, not a public space. ICE cannot enter that break room or that closet without a judicial warrant. If you have a place that is not accessible to the public and it is clearly labeled private, not a public space, employees only, ICE may not enter that space without a judicial warrant. We understand they may violate the terms of that. We understand that they are breaking the law left and right. Some of what we're doing now is documenting, making sure that we understand our rights and we document the way that ICE is violating our rights. That is for the time to come. That is for the days in which we get justice for what they're doing right now. So understand that these are not guarantees that ICE will follow the law. They don't know the law. They don't have any intention of following it, but you need to make sure that you are following the law. So as a business owner, you create that space. ICE rolls up, you put your employees in that room. Any immigrants that are shopping there, you put them in that room, and ICE may not go in without a judicial warrant. And then you fucking document everything. So if you're interested in being a volunteer, helping educate business owners, this is what grassroots resistance looks like. People who tell me all the time, like, protests aren't going to do anything. Protests are not going to stop the fascists. No, protests are recruitment events. They're morale boosting events, but very much so they are about onboarding new people. They're about bringing people into the movement and then being like, hey, I got a job for you. Hey, there's so much more you can do than this. Why don't you look at this list of opportunities of other ways that you can resist fascism? Of really effective grassroots ways that we can defend our community, right? That could be some kind of mutual aid, especially as we're looking at massive cuts to food bank budgets. People are going hungry. That could be signing up to be somebody who escorts immigrants to the courthouse for their hearings, right? Especially if you're a member of the clergy, we need you walking immigrants to their court hearings. Maybe you get them involved and you find out, they're qualified to become a legal observer. Oh, this person is a videographer? Oh, I got lots of things they can do. The idea of protests is one, a big public display, so we let the entire world know we will not be silenced. The resistance is here, it is everywhere, but it is very much about helping people get their toe in the door, bringing them in with a very small ask, right? Just come to a protest. Maybe like come to the craftivism event on Wednesday night before the Saturday protest. Meet everybody. Make some buttons. Make some signs. Get to know the other people who live near you who care about democracy. And then, hey, let's decide to roll up to the protest together on Saturday. You're building those relationships. Grassroots resistance requires relationship building. Once those people feel invested, right? They've had a really positive experience. They feel connected to other people. It's much easier to ask them to take a little bit bigger risk, to take a little bit bigger step. Would you consider doing the signs of solidarity training with me? And, on our lunch hour, twice a week, we go around to some businesses and we talk to them about how they can better protect their immigrant employees. This is what grassroots resistance looks like. This is what effective resistance looks like. It's not glamorous, it's not sexy, it's not going to make for great cinema. It's these small actions that happen behind the scenes where we are supporting each other, we're educating each other, we are encouraging each other. This is what has worked in other countries that have effectively not only cared for their communities, right? Because the number one aspect of having an effective resistance movement is that you do not abandon the most vulnerable. You seek to continually care for the folks that are targeted by the regime. So you engage in that work and you do these kind of small actions of eroding the pillars of support, caring for each other, building that mass movement, building those connections, not only of individuals to individuals, but also groups to groups, right? One of the things that we're focusing on for No Kings is helping different grassroots groups partner together, but also connecting with our unions, right? How can we better support our unions? Also, how can we get involved with our clergy more? It's those connections that help us become far stronger, far more cohesive. That's how we build our power. That's how we build those muscles that we will need to flex for bigger actions. Things like labor strikes, things like sustained economic resistance. There are so many small jobs. You may feel like you are not physically able to protest. You definitely aren't somebody who could be on the front lines getting pepper sprayed or arrested. You may be somebody who's closer to retirement and more settled and secure and has your home paid off and you have some assets and you're like, maybe I want to fund some of these things. Maybe I want to buy gas mask filters for the kids protesting at ICE. Maybe I want to buy a printer for my local Indivisible group. Maybe I want to buy a bunch of red cards and hand them out. Maybe I want to make some donations to those groups that are organizing and fighting in the courts and fighting all around the country against the Trump regime. But maybe you're somebody with limited financial means, but you're willing to have conversations. And you're like, you know what? Something like Signs of Solidarity, I could do that. I could give up a couple of lunch hours a couple times a week for a few weeks and go around and talk to local businesses. That's a worthy endeavor. Every terrible action that the regime tries, every way they try and trample our rights, that creates a scenario where we get to be creative. We get to be adaptive. We get to come up with tactics on how to push back and resist and defend against what they're trying to do to us. And I think Signs of Solidarity is a really good comprehensive way to address the issue of ICE going into businesses where employers don't really know their rights. They don't know how to defend immigrants. It's also got that added layer in permaculture. We say stacking functions, right? We want as many benefits stacked into one activity as possible. Put those signs up. Normalize. Immigrants are welcome here. We are a business that is not going to rat you out to ICE. We are a business that is determined that we will support everybody here, that no person is illegal. And we're communicating that to our customers. We're normalizing the fact that immigrants have rights and what ICE is doing to them is brutal and terrible and illegal. And it cannot and will not be normalized. We're all learning more about our rights. And also, when Indivisible or whatever group you're with has a couple of volunteers going around to these businesses, you are building relationships. If you want to take on bigger actions like general strikes, one of the things I see orgs talking about more and more is that we need some big economic moves. Economic resistance, that's the next big thing we got to be organizing for. I think everybody canceling their Disney Plus, that kind of rapid response economic pushback, combined with some other moves, again, like labor strikes, like the Target boycott, but bigger, on a bigger scale. To do that kind of thing, we got to build relationships. We have to have connections. Any of these bigger moves, we have to build our muscle so we can flex it. We have to build the support network. Everything we're doing now, including Signs of Solidarity, is helping move us toward that goal.